AllReasonNoLogic.
Battle started.
It's getting hot in here. G'day friends, welcome everyone to today's match. It's a team free-for-all hosted by AllReasonNoLogic. We are here weekly live casting games on a Sunday. If you want to join in, hit that Discord link in the description below. We would love for you to join in our growing community. Let's get to the match. I'm Twig and joined by Praetus.
You're joining us on Gehenna Rising, a map with a variable lava layer. This low ground area will constantly fill up and retreat with lava, so your mexes and your armies are never safe, and they can get cut off if you try and take that middle ring. So advantage is going to go to the players that are bold and daring and get established in the middle early on. Leading the blue team, we have B-Bomb, an OS-23 player. Leading the green team, we have Tank Tom, also of AllReasonNoLogic prowess, an OS-13 player, though that's not necessarily representative of his skills. Leading the red team, we have the pink player Joe 40428, who is...
Let's call him Joe.
Yep, he's accompanying Alexi, a regular from the channel. And leading the final team is Winera, an OS-18 player who is well known to you guys if you've been with the channel for any amount of time. Twig.
Winera's team, probably the most even, close matching both Antics and Winera, OS 18 and 17. So even split there. Some of the other teams, you got a high OS with a low OS. So it's going to be interesting how that plays. And we see the first lava rising.
We do. Having a quick look around the map, we're seeing a lot of bots coming out from all of these players, and I think that's a pretty good choice, considering the mobility required in this map to dodge around the lava. Only one set of vehicles, and those are coming out of Hardcode Man.
Wonder why Tom's picked that middle position. You can see zooming out. Sorry, everyone, I'm going in and out. Tank Tom starting in the middle, whereas everyone else is splitting those mexes backline left to right, and also I'm going to share front and back in the middle. We'll see if that pays off at all. Maybe a little bit easier to defend that front position. I don't know.
If the lava hadn't risen, I actually would have really liked this start, because it meant he would have gotten an early charge into the middle. And defending from these two high ground points would be much easier than trying to defend on the slightly lower ground ramps. We'll see whether, now that the lava has dropped down, if he actually does manage to push out of his base. So far, the only player doing that is Pink. And Pink is starting to move their way across, going for that early aggression. LLT, there is an LLT up for B-Bomb, the white player, or the lightest blue player, close enough to.
Speaking of his player view, he does have that radar up next to his commander, and you can see that he can see those units.
So very good play out of that, good and defensive. Tank Tom is stepping out of his base, finds a couple of ticks, but nothing too dramatic there. The ticks, with their extra speed, managed to get away. No major expansion into the middle, but we do have a yellow comm heading there to try and get those low ground mexes. Even though it might seem like it's not worth it, because the lava will destroy them, because they only cost 50 and they're producing 2, as long as they're alive for more than 25 seconds, they pay themselves off.
Every mech's worth 2 in this map. There's no higher level rated ones. These geos around the base, I wonder if it's worth getting those up, considering they will detonate. Probably not.
I don't actually know if they detonate.
Look at the wind.
Oh yeah, the wind's good. Just get wind. Definitely just get
minimum.
wind. Yeah,
So
you can't lose
efficient.
on wind. This is a map where I wouldn't even do safety solar. I'd go, well, actually, because I go 3 mechs, I would do a solar, but that's more of a build order thing.
Nicely done by Tank Tom, taking out a constructor on the right-hand side of the map. And it is going to be pretty much up to the blue player, it's me, Steve, on if he's going to use aggression or defensive and go eco, because this lane here, you can see me draw that, can't you, Prey?
I can indeed.
That's going to be the weak point for the green team. But if we see more of a push into the middle, I think maybe Tom's going to see an advantage by pushing in the same direction as Hardcodeman. Having said that, it looks like Hardcodeman's going into eco. And it's just Tom on the front line.
That's going to be pretty rough if other teams are doing 2 fronts. The team that goes front and eco is going to have a really tough time. I really like the play out of the yellow player. Getting a huge mech advantage. It's only 4, but considering that a lot of these other players are only running on 5 or 6,
Is
it's
that the brown
definitely.
player? Sorry.
Oh, is it different for you as well?
I've got brown for Wanira and Antiques, like a light brown.
So I've got yellow for antics.
Interesting.
Okay, so we can't use local colors. That's
Is
really
that the
good to
only
know.
one? I think it's the only run. I've got like a light brown.
There you go.
I've got
Well,
Tom pushing in with Tom and Hyde Codeman
oof,
pushing in with units.
good bit of
Looks like
damage
Tom's
there.
been given the units to Micro.
Unfortunately, not quite able to split those units up and get a huge amount of damage in. But with the positioning of the com and the LLTs, it would have been quite a rough ride anyway. Looks like he's punching on in, killing the
I'd love to
radar.
see these taken straight to the back line rather than trying to take out those mexes.
Yep. The wind for this map, it would be rather critical to take that out. And if you can bypass this first hump, you would end up at the second base. And I don't think for any of these players that middle back has any defense, and it doesn't. So if you can get any units into that middle back section, they're just going to have free reign there until units are sent through. Though the damage being done to
There we go.
Winira's team, I don't think it really matters at the moment, considering how many mexes are up for the yellow player. His com's so exposed, but no one's challenging him, so he's just making money, making money, making money.
I like what this player here is, the yellow player for your screen. He's doing with these light plasma bots. I mean, it's a little bit late, but if this lava rose at this point in time and he had enough units over here and Tank Tom's commanders out in the middle, that's when you want to snipe a com. That's when you want to last second send a whole bunch of units down to the middle and then get possession whilst the lava's high and you can't get any supporting units up there. Yellow team being pushed on both fronts now as well, with maces on the left-hand side, and the blue team playing a little bit passively, going for that eco. And quickly looking up at the eco, it does look like it's... What do we got?
Actually,
Yellow team definitely in the lead.
Yellow
with
team
medals.
favored, yep. And then the green and the red team approximately equal, and the blue team the furthest behind. Yellow's about to lose some of its lead because it's because of the plasma bots that are walking across the map from the red team. But at the end of the day, that doesn't actually matter too much because this area soon will become a lava graveyard, so the mechs would have been lost anyway. And the amount of time that they've had them, they've paid for themselves, so it's just free metal at this point.
Nice aggression out of Tank Tom, taking out some of those mexes that have been built by the commander. He's taken out 3, I think, 3 or 4.
Looks, yep, but some of them coming back online now, and that one grunt is continuing on and doing a lot of damage. So good on Tank Tom for microing that one. One more, just a quick fight command, using shift to go between all those mexes. That's the way to do it when you're down to 1 grunt, and then you don't have to look at him again. That's going to get taken
B-bomb
out.
with a big clear out right now. That's definitely enough to take out a commander. Wouldn't mind a couple of these being followed by like even just 1 res bot to get the reclaim for any damage these do.
So it does look like the yellow com is heading up to the high ground with the plasma bots, and this should be enough to keep the yellow com alive, even if it does mean sacrificing more mexes. And Tank Tom's units should run afoul of this, weakening the larger force. No micro coming out of Tank Tom and retreating a little bit too late.
Nice to see the yellow player using the repair command on those maces, getting them back up to full health.
Every single
We've got
unit.
an air transition.
Ooh, who from?
Oh wow! It's a red player has gone into air and then straight away an advanced air lab already up. Nicely done. I do like this new render for the air labs.
It's much fatter.
Square.
It's got an entire extra toe coming out the front, much more square, more in line with the size and shape of the rest of the buildings. Does look much more like a T2 lab, and if I look at the builder, it's now much easier to distinguish between the T1 and the T2 plant in the little menu icons. So,
T2 lab out for the blue team, and I don't like to see both players going for T2 at the same time. It would have been better if the blue player got the T2 constructor off of the cyan player.
Also, based on the location of the light blue player's lab, they're going to have a bit of trouble getting the units out.
Yeah. Is what it is. The lava's going up and we can see some stuff rising. I wonder if this is like Hot Stepper where the lava level changes every map, or does it just keep rising to that low point? I'm not sure.
I'm fairly sure it does, because I think that these high ground the 4 high ground spaces in the middle of the map
Mm.
do at some point become only a bastion, but I don't think it's linear. I don't think that it's I don't think that every single time it gets higher. I think it's more variable than that.
I'm going to answer you the comment we made before. A geo did go down for the green team.
Question is, does a
With that
T2
lava.
geo go down?
I don't think anyone wants to try and find that out, do they?
Come on, come on. Quick
Tank
look at
Tom in a
the
position to push the yellow commander here, but probably doesn't have radar up. Just quickly pressing. No, he does. I can see those units there. Those rocket bots outranging the maces, if microed correctly.
I'm being honest, this is the time I would have gone for a T2 transition. I would have tried to be a little bit more
late.
aggressive with the T1
Everyone
units.
everyone is T2 apart from the green team, which has got 3 T1 labs up. We've seen probably a better transition into T2 out of the yellow team with 1 lab going up and just sharing their advanced bots. But we've got an air transition out of Winera, the brown player.
Does look like we've also got a potential attack coming from the blue team heading up into red space. A lot of grunts here, but they're going to run into a wall which is protected by Dragon's Maws. Backs away as soon as he sees that. Good choice there, trying to find some better ground to run into. This should actually be quite a lot of damage if he does go off the ramp, which he is. Only 2 LLTs.
He's going to get trapped in there, but he's going to definitely get damage.
Doesn't matter. 2 LLTs isn't going to come even close to stopping this, and as long as you keep your units spread out and don't lose them all to the exploding wind, should have free reign of the base.
This is a huge hit, and red was up there with the most metal being produced on the map at 70 plus.
And all of these are going to chain react. Oh, the last little set didn't. Good call sending the grunts back, but not splitting them up enough, so the com's going to get some nice D guns. All great dodge there. Dodges all of them but 1. Mace is going to take him out, so not quite as much damage as I'd hoped, but still a great play out of the blue player, getting good damage done, resetting the build power as well, which is critical. And now they know that there's air.
I mean, great play out of blue, but these multiple team games where you got more than 2 teams, these are a bit tricky because now
air's coming down on the green player. Looks like the build power is going to go down. There is 1 anti-air in the base, but that is not enough. Tried to go into a SAM, but there's no way that that's going to come up. Going to have to defend using the LLTs, the incisors, and the com. Looks like it's enough to defend, but all of that build power, a 3x3 grid, so 9 construction turrets going down. That is a huge loss.
At the same time, green was pushing with the Rocketeers up into this bastion here and took out the 3 mexes and some wins.
I would definitely prefer to get the 9, the grid of the 3x3 grid of build power over the 2 mexes, especially considering it doesn't look like the T2 builder had gotten to them in time to turn them into T2, so only a very, very minor loss.
Looking at eco quickly, the green team definitely the most aggressive in the game, but almost half the medal income of all the other teams, which you can see at the top right there, about half the medal.
Definitely
40 compared to high 70s and 100 for the blue team, nicely upgrading all of their eco.
Looks like
going into a bit more
advanced
eco,
fusion going down. That's bold, especially considering that It's Me Steve has zero metal in the bank.
You don't want to be building defenses and T2 units and an advanced fusion at the same time with almost no build power as well. That's going to take that full 10 minutes. I like what I'm seeing out of B-Bomb in the back line here. Maybe B-Bomb should be coaching a little.
Fingers crossed that they get some energy down, but they do seem to be in a relatively unharassed position. They're also not overly aggressive either. So
a lot of action at the top of the map with Brown now coming out with some hounds, and that's up against T1. So taking that apart, I think Tom's commander is in big trouble right now. Going to switch to player view for yellow and see if they spot that commander.
With the definitely looks like the com has been spotted because there is some Banshee is heading overhead, and now the Hounds are firing on. Looks like that comm is not long for this world. Gets to, oh, good D-gun. 4 Hounds down, but that is the end of the comm. It does look like the aggression not quite paying off out of the green players. We're now stuck
No,
at T1.
Tom building anti-air as well, accidentally instead of units.
Even so, with T1 units against Hounds, this was always going to be a very tough hold. Apologies to the viewers for the bouncy view. We're trying our best to minimize how much we scroll in and out, but on this map, every time you move next to a cliff, it drops your camera up and down to try and give you the same distance from the center of the screen. So trying to mitigate that best as we can.
Fantastic out of the... Oh, I've just noticed a gauntlet on the red team pinging off some of yellow's units, but we'll jump back to the Hounds where Tom's base is being pulled apart. Tom often getting caught in these situations where focusing so much on T1, he's a great T1 player, manages to beat me for sure at times, all of us really, but just struggling with that T2 transition, knowing when to do it, and then you get caught out like this. Even though getting most of the ground and holding most of the top map, if you don't have a transition happening, it doesn't need to be T2, it could be to an air transition, you will see bases fall like this because you just cannot go against T units unless you've got an absolute bucket load of T on. And I feel their pain because we've got a bunch of Fiends and Sheldons now coming across from the blue player.
Thankfully, these two armies should clash with each other, though it does look like yellow is just continuing on with the attack rather than trying to save his units and fight blue. Backing out, also good, but going to lose quite a bit to those Sheldons. Sheldons slightly outrange the Hounds, and they are great in this sort of fight where they have a front line. It does definitely look like Green's days are numbered. Question is, who's going to control this area between the yellow team or the blue team? Because that's going to be a huge, huge metal advantage based on who takes this.
In
fact,
I did like the cool scene about Browns just said, retreat, let them finish it so that they can save their own units. That's not a bad play.
Problem is that also then leaves them the reclaim. So if you don't control this area, then not ideal. Looks like a rather large air transition coming out of the yellow team. A lot of bombers and a couple of fighters flying around above the base. We'll see where they go next.
Beamer's doing work against all the Hounds over on the little hill on the left-hand side of the map and taking them all out. And now those few maces that are left are hardly going to beat the remaining Beamer. A lot of metal there to be reclaimed.
A lot of metal, because there were 2 gauntlets there, though one of them's turned into just a trash pile. Does look like it's going to be a pretty close fight between these maces and the Beamer, but it does look like the Beamer's going to hold the ground, already up to 3 chevrons, so it's got plus 45% max health and negative 18% reload speed, so as a Beamer, very, very strong, basically 20% fire rate right there. And the reclaim is going to go to the red team. They've sent in a advanced air constructor to reclaim everything there. As the yellow team, I would have sent a fighter over to try and stop that from happening, but that's hindsight. And also game knowledge from
off of the low ground, and the lava's rising again.
Let's see how high it goes this time. No geos to explode this time round, unfortunately. I would love to see someone get a advanced geo or a geo cannon and see what happens to it under this lava, though it does seem to last quite a while, so probably not a good idea.
I think taking on this army with just a few tanks in the top right of the corner is not the way to go, and you can see if they're not micro, they're just going to be lost metal at this stage. Not sure what to do for this team. Maybe build an air transport and hold that commander up in the air somewhere and hope for the best.
I mean, when you get stuck on T1 against T2 teams, you really don't have a hope. You almost have to rely on them not attacking you.
The aggression out of the green team was beautiful, but
the lava on the map stopped them.
Yeah, that too. But you got to know, like, if it's a 1 versus 1, like one team versus another team, that's fine to push real hard. But in a game like this, committing to a T1 hard push, you got to take 3 other teams out. You're not just taking one other team out. So without that T2 transition, you're kind of committing game suicide. You might take out one team, but you're not going to take out the other 2.
While we've got a bit of a lull in the action, if I have three strategies in mind for this map, and I'll go through them with you. But if you were to say, if you were to be the one playing this, how would you play out this map?
Probably quite similar to the yellow team where you've got a player that's doing a little bit defensive. That's getting that T2 though up, making sure you've always got that unit production. They've not gone into any aphises. They've just gone into the fusions. So not too hard into eco and going for that air transition.
Oh, tank
People
run
really
by getting
only-
onto the Sheldons. Doesn't look like it's going to get much damage done, but that is 2 Sheldons and the radar down. If they can get the cloaker, that would be, or the radar jammer, that'd be huge. And it doesn't look like they're getting a lot of the Sheldons. These brutes doing better than I expected they would.
The thugs though standing up to them.
Very much so. Com
Going with
coming
the
in though.
commander.
And without that radar bot, they were unable to shoot till they had line of sight. So the right units were taken out. Great cleanup by the green team. And there's so much metal here. I don't think that they'll fully make it back into the game, but they certainly could stop themselves from bleeding so hard. And they might be able to make some sort of comeback. Having a quick look
Yellow team
down.
pushing on the left-hand side, and
Yellow-
the pink team at the same.
Yellow destroying that beamer with absolute and total overwhelming
Prejudice.
firepower. Yep, prejudice. That's the word I was looking for.
These hounds are going to do damage just based on that defense there, but just quickly jumping over what's happening with pink. No, they've pulled out. Let's focus on yellow's attack.
EMP
Ooh,
bombs
we've
coming
got an
down.
atomic bomber. That is going to do massive damage.
And again, 2 attacks out of the yellow team. They do have an air screen, but they haven't used it, and that air screen would have saved all of these hounds.
Here they come now. So I think we're going to see more than an air screen. We're going to see an assault on the eco at the same time. These are all T1 coming out of Brown, out of Wanera.
But there's very little in the way of anti-air for the red team, and so fingers crossed these bombers can come on in and do damage, though it doesn't look like they are. No, it doesn't look like it. One coming in, but gets shot down before it can drop its payload. The time to send those bombers in is behind those fighters. Definitely should have sent them all in at once. And now
those
we have
fighters going down to essentially just taking out those atomic bombers.
And now we have a stream of grunts heading on into the into the yellow base. Bombers and hounds not the ideal units for cleaning this up. Once the stream starts making it in, it will start killing those hounds and it will start dealing damage. Got to get some defenses up here. Would love to see. Oh, actually, T2 defense is not even the best against spam.
Nah, welders. Welders is what to do.
Welders is the right call. Yep. No, you're right. But the bombers.
We're seeing Cyan coming out and taking out the forward lab for the pink team, but those pop-up dragons more doing some work against Sheldon, taking them out really quickly actually.
Because the grunts are also clumped up, these shots are firing for effect, but Sheldon's not the greatest thing against the grunts. If they were spread out just a little bit more, would certainly be doing more damage.
Pop-ups taking out Sheldons.
Those are not what you want to see. And again, T2 defense is not the best against the swarm, but there is so much of it here that it's going to be enough. Nice reclaim field for the blue team to pick up. The pink grunts are still making their way in, but the welders have come up now. As long as they're spread correctly, there shouldn't be much more damage coming out of this team. Looks like we have an Armageddon, a nuclear ICBM launcher coming up in Wanera's base. No nuke defense coming up, so as long as that remains unscouted, that should deal a huge amount of damage. If he waits
Sorry, there is a catapult also being built out of pink, and he's going into mass fusion there with the APHIS already up. Not already, sorry, it is 22 minutes into the game, but strongest eco definitely out of the red team at this point in the time of the game, sorry.
Yep, catapult's going to do so well on this map with the huge range. And I don't think any of the teams have what they need to deal with catapults, especially with their units continuously getting EMP'd by those EMP bombers. A flight of fighters coming in to deter those EMP bombers, but
there's no vision here for the red team, the pink team, sorry. No radar, so they are doing work against what they can see, but having to target ground fire there.
Target ground fire is one of the ways that human opponents are much harder to fight than AI opponents. They can target things that you just can't see. B-bombs Com is going in on a rather risky play, but he may end up getting spotted by those grunts. So you just got to be careful with where you send him. Putting him off to the side is definitely the right call. But now, oh, it's gonna get the D guns off. No worries here. Good D gun, another good D gun, and that is 3 D guns and huge metal down the drain. Does
Just
take out the
that
pop-ups
catapult comes out.
though. And here's the catapult.
Oh, that's taking out 30% of that commander.
And this catapult, all he has to do is stand where he is now and just slowly carpet that base. And as long as and then it's on the blue team to destroy it, as compared to being on the pink team to do anything really aggressive. So just keep getting that damage on, do your best. Quick look over at the green team. They've shored up massively on their defenses and they're trying to get back into it. They've got a lot of reclaim still there to use, but they're having trouble spending their metal, so they don't need to overly invest in it at this point. The nuke launcher is certainly slow in producing that nuke at the moment because of the lack of power, but we do have a second fusion that's about to finish, and that should fix up all the power problems.
Pink actually does have an anti-nuke up with 2 in the bag at the moment, so relatively covered there. Not the best place to build it though. You'd want to see that being built somewhere like in the middle there so that it can cover the full base.
But hey, partial coverage is better than no coverage, and that's what blue's got. And there's a very juicy target in the back for blue. There's a bunch of fusion reactors. Also, if we have a quick look at the blue player, it's me, Steve. He's 1 minute away from getting that APHIS that started about 15 minutes ago.
It hurts to watch.
It does.
Always best to reclaim and not build anything else while you're building an APHIS. You want these things to go up in less than 60 seconds, ideally. At this stage of the game, 26 minutes in.
Great push out by the blue team with those fiends, getting right up onto that, catapult. Unfortunately, the 1 dragon's maw in the back is enough to stop most of those, and the reclaim eats the last one. But the catapult's down to 43%, so it is a much easier snipe than before. There's also, oh no, the bulwarker's been there for a while. It's just getting the occasional bit of vision, so it actually gets shots off.
Green, blue, and the yellow team all very even on eco at the moment, all within 20 metal of each other. I am liking this catapult, but I think there's going to be a read shock when this nuke comes up.
I can't wait.
If it comes up.
There it goes.
At this point of the game,
straight into It's Me, Steve. Right as his APHIS comes up, the rest of his base goes down.
I missed the nuke. I hope you got it.
I did not. We're going to have to clip that one in, I reckon. Not the best, not the worst place it could have hit, and I actually am a big fan of not firing your first nuke until you're 75% through building the second one, because then you can usually get a second one off before the anti-nuke comes up. But in this case, we have a we've got anti-nuke coming down, and it should have its first one reasonably soon. There's still quite a lot of build left on the next nuke, so we'll see.
At this point in the game as well, with the Armageddon stalling a little bit on energy, what can be done is your other player can donate one of those fusions. He's got 4 up there, and give one just so that finishes its construction of the missiles.
Big bombing run coming across from the blue player towards the pink. It is defended by fighters, though they're very grouped up. And there is a flak turret. All those bombers also quite grouped up. Does look like they're going to drop their payloads on the front line before swinging in for a second run to the base.
Are we going to see the fusions? I don't think we're going to get
there.
No,
we're not. Not with 3 flaks in front and how grouped up those bombers were. And now it is a T3
they do know
assault.
that APHIS is there, though.
They do.
There is vision of that.
And now it's time for the T3 assault. We've got 7 Shivas heading on in. And B-Bomb is cloaking his comm, though it's very near units, so it is taking some damage. Looks like he is going to get the D-guns off. There we go, good D-guns right there. That's 3, 4. So that's a total of 7 Shivas that the comm has taken out before it gets destroyed, but it has now been destroyed, and it is a continuous line of Shivas and grunts that are heading on in to try and stop this. They are in range of the catapult, but the Shivas do defend. This is going to be very, very hard for the blue player to hold, especially considering that the that half the team was just nuked. The next nuke should actually be firing right now. It is, and it's a candy cane. Thank you, Christmas skin pack. That's what we like to see. Actually, that's heading on in for the red base, and it is not being shot down. So that's going to land right over here, I reckon. Bullseye.
And blue B-bomb going into a T3 transition. Probably the better thing to do in this case was to push out mammoths. They can hold their own against T3, and not going to get that up in time with the Shivas walking up into the base. It does take quite some time to get a T3 lab up, and I think we're about to see this team go down.
In fact, we are definitely going to see this team go down, because that is all of their power generation except for an advanced fusion. So they are now going to be hurting. Especially...
Atomic bombers coming across and going for the commander. Oh, missed the commander. Going straight for the eco.
Yep, I see that one, but doesn't manage to get the nuke off. That is unfortunate.
Too greedy. Far too greedy. Another one coming across now.
Yep, that one, if it had been part of that first assault, it actually probably would have made it off into the eco and gotten that first nuke. The question is, what can it do this time? It's heading on in the
back line. For,
there goes the nuke for Ollie. One nuke onto Ollie, and the comm gets finished off by the Marauders. Only one comm left, and it's actually in a mostly undefended spot. If those Marauders decide to go down to the middle, that's going to be big damage and big problems for the pink player. Looks like yellow is in a very, very good spot.
Suddenly the green team's in an alright position now that the blue team's out there. It's probably the most defended team, even though it's all T1.
Oh no! The last of the defenses are down for Pink's eco, but he's walked into the build turrets. Build turrets are actually taking down some of the Marauders. They're not in a good position to fire onto the build turrets because of everything in the way, but they do get the fusion, which blows up all the build power.
A bit of inexperience there out of Joe. Actually, he's always 25. I'm surprised he didn't just focus on building up these. Sorry, eating up these Marauders and the base going down.
He did give it a go. He did give it a go, definitely, but he was unable to do it before that. He was unable to get enough of them eaten. We've got another nuclear bomber that is searching for that last comm, and it does look like it has been found. First nuke goes down. All it needs to do is get another one off, and there is no...
sit still.
The comm needs to sit still and cloak. It's the only way, but it's not going to happen. Second nuke coming down. That is pink out of the match. Their units are going to start self-destructing. So now it is a two-horse race.
Still won this with the units that they got walking up there, the catapult and all the T3 that was over in Blue's base. We were looking at some counterclockwise action, and if they just kept that commander still, probably would have got the units up there in time enough to do the damage on that bottom left-hand corner of yellow in your case's base.
So the absolute MVP of this game has actually been the nuclear launcher with 221 kills. It has successfully hit 3 bases through the game. We missed the one that hit green, but that took out one of their major centers. So the very, very well played by the yellow team. Nice mix of air, ground, and then tactical missiles. And here comes the next nuke, or the next candy cane. Enjoy Christmas, you bitch.
Ho ho ho. I think it's time for the green team to hit resign on this.
I reckon so. They're definitely in a rough spot here, as the nuclear bomber comes in and destroys some of their last eco.
Oh well, it was a good game out of all players. Green team ended up coming second after that early defeat there, but nice game. Well done by Wanira.
Yep.
And who was the other player? Ant.
And they got harassed quite hard by the green team in the start. They lost most of Wanira lost most of his base to tank Tom, and most of that middle section was lost to the green team as well. They also had to fend off the long range artillery, the T1 artillery from the pink team.
There we go. We might see the last commander fall from these gunships unless we get a D-gun off.
There is one fighter that's doing its best to do it, but that's going to be the last comm going down. Great victory out of the yellow team. And the crazy thing is, if you look at their eco, they don't have APHIS. They've got 9 fusions, and they built them consistently through the game. They didn't just spam them out, so they managed to toe that line throughout the
ended.
entire game. Let's have a quick look at the stats, just so that people who want to can trace on through. The damage efficiency for the for the yellow team is one of the big reasons why they won. If you look at that, they had a combined damage efficiency of 166% compared to the other teams, though a lot of that would have been the nukes. Quick look at the graphs. The one I want to see is the energy produced, and you can actually see that the red team probably about equal with the, actually I'd say all teams, well, we know from watching the game and keeping an eye on that top right corner, all teams are quite equal. We can see the red team certainly had one player that ecoed very hard and let the other go into units. The same was true for blue, and not quite so much for the yellow team. And a quick look at the metal produced. Similar sort of story here. A lot of one player definitely going harder into eco and the other one harder into units. So,
I mean, dealt throughout, you can see at the end, pink doing a lot of damage with that catapult and the T3, not doing much before that, but yeah, the yellow player
the
doing
consistent
quite a
damage.
bit. Yeah, and aggression gets you wins.
Yep. Well, thanks everyone for watching. If you enjoyed that one, give us a like and subscribe. Head on down into the comments section. Let us know if we missed anything or if you enjoyed the video. And other than that, if you want to join us and do these games with us, jump onto our Discord, and we'll catch you. Link in the description. We'll catch you next time.
See ya, everyone.